Good morning, children. Welcome back after few gap. Now we'll start with chapter 1. It is from the unit electrostatics. So what is electrostatics? It is the branch of physics in which we study about the stationary charges. Static means stationary. So the branch of physics in which we study about the stationary charge is called electrostatics. So this is from the electrostatics. First part we are learning electric charge. Then we will learn Coulomb's law, that is electrostatic force. Then in this chapter we will learn electric field. So we know there are two types of charges, that is positive charge as well as negative charge. Protons are having positive charge and electrons are having negative charge. In an atom, the number of protons and the number of electrons are equal. So the atom is electrically neutral, since the number of positive charge and the number of negative charge are equal. So the total charge of an atom is 0. You consider two bodies, for example, glass and silk. When you rub these two bodies, due to friction, both the bodies get charged. How do they get charged? They get charged because of rubbing. So due to rubbing, the body gets electrified, charged. That is called static electricity or frictional electricity. The electricity produced by stationary charges, which is produced by friction due to rubbing. So one of the material is losing electron, the other is gaining. The one which is losing, it becomes positive charged one, and the one which is gaining, it becomes negatively charged one. Thus we say the bodies are electrified, means charged. Next come to conduction, that means conductors and insulators. The one which passes electricity easily, they are called conductors. The one which does not pass, they are called insulators. One main difference between the conductor and insulator is that when we give charge to conductor, the whole charge will get distributed over all the surface, all over the surface of a conductor. But when you give charge to an insulator, the charge will lie on that place where you are putting the charge. In the case of conductor, the charge will spread over its entire surface area. But in insulator, the charge will remain where you are putting the charge. Now, how can you charge a body? We can charge a body by two methods. One is conduction and the other is induction. One is conduction, other is induction. What are the differences between charging by conduction and charging by induction? First difference, in conduction, suppose you want to make a body A to be charged. For that, you take another charged body B and you have to touch it. You have to touch it. But in the case of induction, you want to make the body A to be charged by induction. So for that purpose, you will take another charged body B, but you will not touch B with A. You will keep near to A. So that's the first difference. In conduction, we have to touch, but in induction, we will just bring it near only. Second one, Suppose you want to make the body A positively charged. Then in conduction, you have to bring the body B, charged body B, with the same charge. That means positive charge. Whereas in induction, suppose you want to make the body A positively charged. For that purpose, you are taking the body, charged body B. It should be negatively charged one. So in the case of conduction, you have to charge a body, you have to take another charged body with the same type of charge. But in induction, you have to take the oppositely charged body. So these are the main differences between charging by conduction and charging by induction. Next come to the unit of charge. SI unit of charge is Coulomb, denoted by C. So in the previous years, 9th class and 10th class, we have learned the definition of electric current. What is electric current? Electric current is the rate of flow of charge. Current is denoted by I, charge Q time T. So rate of flow of charge is called current. But we know total charge Q is equal to NE. N is the number of electrons and E is the charge of electron. So current formula we get NE upon T. If we put the unit as a unit, current is measured in ampere, charge is measured in coulomb, time is measured in second. So children, 1 ampere is equal to, put in this formula, 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb upon 1 second. Next topic, the properties of electric charges. So children, the first point is very important. We know some of the properties we have learned, conservation of charge, quantization also we have learned in 9th class. I repeat it again and it is important question. In a body, the total charge Q is equal to plus or minus NE, where E is called, that is the electron's charge, which is called elementary charge, small e. So this electron's charge or elementary charge E multiplied by natural number, we will get the total charge Q. This is called the quantization property of electric charge. Important one, quantization of electric charge. It means electric charge cannot be divided indefinitely. Quantization also known as atomicity, and E is called the elementary charge, charge of electron. So a body contains the integer multiple of electronic charge. This is called quantization of charge. Second property is conservation of charge. According to this point we have done before also. Charge is neither be created nor be destroyed. In a system, in an isolated system, total amount of charge always remains constant. We can transfer charge from one body to another body, but we cannot create charge, we cannot destroy charge. In an isolated system, total charge remains the same. That is the second property of electric charge. Now come to third property. Here it is written invariance property of electric charge. It means charge may be stationary, charge may be moving with velocity v. In both the time, the value of charge remains the same. Charge may remain stationary, charge may be in motion with velocity v. V for moving with velocity v, S for stationary. But Q, that means charge, the value of charge remains the same. This property is called the invariance property of charge. Whereas mass is a variant property. If a particle moves with a high speed, like the speed of light, then the mass of the particle will change, it will increase. So during the rest time, the particle will have a particular mass, but when it moves with the velocity approximately equal to the velocity of light, then its mass will increase. So mass is a variant property, whereas charge is invariant property. Okay, children? So till now we have done the introduction of the topic, that is the different types of charges, static electricity and the properties of charges, etc. Our main topic starts from here, that is Coulomb's law. So to study about the Coulomb's law, we should know about what is meant by permittivity of a medium and dielectric constant, relative permittivity, etc. So first we take permittivity of a medium, denoted by the letter epsilon. It is called the absolute permittivity of a medium. Next one is the comparison, which is called dielectric constant or relative permittivity, also known as specific inductive capacity. See, there are three different names, represents the same thing, which is the dielectric constant, relative permittivity, specific inductive capacity, denoted by the letter K, which is also denoted as epsilon r, relative permittivity. So relative permittivity means it is the comparison of the permittivity of a medium epsilon with respect to permittivity of free space epsilon naught. So comparison of the permittivity of a medium with respect to free space vacuum is called relative permittivity, also known as dielectric constant K, epsilon r. So this K has got different value for different medium. Now come to our main topic, that is Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law gives the electrostatic force between two charges. What type of charges? Point charges. So first we take 2 point charges. Let them we name as Q1 and Q2. They are kept at a distance of r. Then the electrostatic force is given by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 upon r square. So the electrostatic force according to Coulomb depends upon the or proportional to product of the charges Q1 and Q2 and inversely proportional to square of the distance. That proportionality changes to equality by constant. That constant is written here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon. It means the electrostatic force between the two charges depends upon the value of charges, distance between the charges, as well as it depends upon the permittivity of the medium. That means it depends upon the medium also. Now this epsilon we are replacing as K epsilon naught, because from here you will get epsilon is equal to K epsilon naught. For free space or vacuum, the value of K is equal to 1. So the electrostatic force, Coulomb force, F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square for the free space, because the value of K is equal to 1. What is K, children? K is dielectric constant of the medium, also known as relative permittivity of the medium. So in the next session, we'll discuss in detail about the Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law is the law given for the stationary charges, especially point charges. So here the point charges are Q1 and Q2 and their distance is R. And that force, Coulomb force, also called electrostatic force, it is given by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square for free space. This force may be attractive, may be repulsive. It depends upon if there are two like charges, then there will be repulsive. If one is positive, the other is negative, that means their charges are unlike, then there will be attractive force. So Coulomb's law is following inverse square law because it depends upon the square of the distance inversely. Okay, children, go through the topic again and again so that next part will be easily cleared. Okay, children, bye. Take care.